We have a cooperative with Freeman Hospital. We have that association. Freeman is in Joplin, but they also have a small regional hospital in Neosho. And so our clinic, unlike the great thing they've got going at Webb City where it's in the building, ours is actually in the hospital. And there's good and bad about that, obviously. One, you have access to all the doctors. Anything that would happen, they can pull a specialist over if you need it. And so that is a fabulous thing for us. What we do have inside of our district is we have a full-time nutritionist who is there to kind of work on the wellness aspect. And so we'll get into some of that. I tried to put together just some real quick overview if you don't know very much about Neosho. We are the 5th largest school district in geographic area. So we have a little over 225 square miles of school district. Large school district. A lot of rural areas in 2 counties, mostly Newton County, a little bit of McDonald County. Our enrollment's 4,500. Got about 89% attendance because the state requires 90, so we have 89 just so we have something to grow. Free and reduced lunch percentage is 63.2. We do offer free universal second chance breakfast for every kid in every building. And so if you know about the grab and go breakfast systems, we got a grant for that. We were very blessed to get that. We have an association with Tyson. Most of you know them. There's a lot of chicken farms by where we're at. And so they help to fund that as well as the people down in Bentonville, that little Walmart company. And so they help provide. So we're able to provide breakfast for every student, every day, second chance. So if they're late to school, if they ate at home, if they're still hungry, they grab we call it grab and go, they grab a bag and they go eat. And so we try to focus on getting the day started right. Graduation rate is 88.9%. And I put current expenditures up there. I think that's important because every school is different. That's not to say that, oh, we're poor and we spend less. Geographically, we probably have less of a need because our cost of living is lower. We have the 2.75 state minimum, and that's what we pay in taxes. It's a very, very conservative area. Here's our schools and kind of the enrollments for each building. What I will say is that currently we have a middle school that is grades 5 through 7, and in our high school we have grades 8 through 12. Starting next year, we will complete 141,000 square foot new junior high, and so those dimensions will change. When I started with the district, we had 26, I don't want to call them trailers because that sounds bad, modular classroom experiences. After July 1st, we'll have 3. And so I'm excited about that. That has been what I feel like I've done in my 5 years at Neosho, is really work on doing that. And so you can kind of see where our numbers lay out. Now, and I don't know if you can see this or not. Of course, it's available online. You'll get a copy. I've got paper copies in the back if anyone just wants to try and read through that. But through going through with Freeman gives you a lot of resources. And so this is the part I think that Carl Junction and us share, kind of the frequently asked questions. Because this was a huge sales pitch for our people. And if you look around the room, the school people will all tell you that one of the reasons that schools do things innovative or make changes is to compete with their neighbors. And there's no secret about that. We compete, especially in Southwest Missouri, with Carl Junction in football, and they beat us, and then we say, all right, wrestling season's coming, you're ours. You know, we do that with Webb City and so forth. But then there's also that collaboration piece to where we see something they're doing, and we borrow it, and we tweak it, and make it work for our district, and they do the same. And I think that has probably been the most powerful piece for us. As you go through those, I'm not that great of a reader. I don't really want to read those out loud to you because I think what I want to do is share that with you to say, these were the questions, if you're going to start a program, expect these to come. Expect these to be questions that you need to be prepared to answer. Our cooperation with Neosho Freeman has been phenomenal. They foot the majority of the bill. We actually have used our teledoc system quite effectively because when a student goes to the nurse, we immediately link up through FaceTime using an iPad, and we communicate with the doctor. And our nurses communicate and say, here's what I'm seeing. Here's what it looks like down their throat. Here's what I think it is. Do you want them to come down? Would you like the parent to bring them down? We have access to bring them down on buses or our nurses or our SROs, which we've got school resource officers that part of their duty is they may go get them in a car and take them to the clinic if we have parent permission. And so all of those are possibilities for us because our district is so spread out, there was just not one building that made sense, and when you're already using trailers to educate kids, it's hard to sell people on the idea that, hey, we're going to lose one more classroom for a clinic, and so now your kid's going to be in the trailer. And so for us, that space need was pretty important. Just more the frequently asked questions part. The nice thing about this, too, is as we go through, I'm going to show you some of the forms that we use, how the kids go from being seen by the nurse to being seen by a doctor and so forth. And so a lot of what I try to put in there is just how the process works. We have a long way to go, as the folks from Webb City said. We have one provider for mental health needs. And so we've been trying to figure out how to attack that problem. We have a unique problem in our district because people don't want to move away. Our folks that work for our district are willing to work for teacher salaries, counselor salaries, even though educationally they're much better prepared. I have 3 LPCs that are actually school counselors, but they maintain their LPC license. They work for Ozark Center as kind of a part-time gig, or the new place in town, Restoring Hope, which is kind of a part-time. And so they're able to talk to parents, they're able to build back, they're able to maneuver someone into that system because of that experience. Or if a parent goes into the Ozark Center, or they go into Restoring Hope, and they see that it's one of our school counselors, there's already a feeling of acceptance. It's not, you're trying to butt into my business. It's, oh, your family. You knew my kid when he was in kindergarten, first grade, second grade. We're comfortable with you. And they will explore that. And so we recognize, and everyone talks about statistics, we have had four, gosh, I can't believe this, 4 kids in the last 3 years in middle school who've committed suicide. That is huge in a small rural district. Those are the things that you don't talk about because it's scary. I have 5 kids of my own. And when each one of those would happen, I lay awake at night going, oh my gosh. You know, and all of us that are parents, you know, when I said that, your stomach dropped a little bit. Because you're like, what in the, you know, kids making permanent solutions for temporary problems. And so we try to address those, and really our people on the front lines are our teachers who see those, who can share that with a counselor, and then a counselor crisis team can get together and say, I think we got a problem here. And so trying to attack those things, and that's an area where I'm trying to gather information from each of you and say, how do you attack that mental health piece? Because it's something that we feel like we've got stuff in place, but how do you get people to access it? And I don't know that we do it well. We do much better in our high school. Why is that? You know, is it personnel? And how many times have we talked in here about it's having the right people in the right place? And so, you know, certainly eager to find that out. Here's a process by which a student will receive care at the Freeman Neosho Clinic. Okay, and if you've got really good eyesight or you sat towards the front, you can read that. If not, it's on the PowerPoint. You can get on your computer and you blow it up to like 250. And you can see it. But, you know, as you go through there, it does start, just like Webb City's, it starts with a school nurse. You do some evaluation. If the kid's at home, the parent can call into the nurse and say, I've got to go to work. If I don't go to work, I get fired. But my kid's sick. And so the kid gets in, they get off the bus, they don't go to class, they go to the nurse. The nurse does an evaluation. They do their iPad. They kind of do the FaceTime, and they look at them, and they make that evaluation. And maybe the first thing we do is call the parent back, or texting, because nobody calls anymore. We text. Hey, Johnny needs this. I think it's this. Would you like him to go home? Do you want him to go to the clinic? And we make that assessment call. Small towns have unique situations. The lady who is at our clinic, who is the nurse assistant, that's not the proper term, I'll think of it, physician's assistant, there we go, is actually on our school board. Talk about a wonderful way to have acceptance for a program. You know, I mean, this program has automatic acceptance. One of our people on our board is the PR guy for Access Family Health Care. And so I've got 2 people on my board of education. They're really the ones who make the decisions and direct the dollars, who understand healthcare, who are able to bring resources in that the rest of us may or may not know about. Access Family Healthcare says, hey, we've got a new dentist, and part of the thing is he wants to see if he can see some kids. Can we bring them by and check out all of your kindergartners? Oh, I guess. It's free, right? Sure. And so we have that opportunity. And I think each one of us, as I'm listening, we each have that in our region, which is phenomenal. We hope that last one there with the behavioral health services, that's the one that we are really struggling to get parents to accept. And so I'm curious what other people are doing to get parents to accept the fact that their kid may need behavioral help. We're incredibly private people in Southwest Missouri. To say that your kid needs behavioral help is like saying, I'm a bad parent. I can't handle my own kid. My kid's broken. And so we have a hard time. And so as I'm listening to people at Jennings talk, I'm like, gosh, if we get our people to be that involved in it, that thing would take off like crazy. And that's something that we struggle with. We're getting better. We offer all kinds of incentives and activities and so forth to get parents to come in and hear the spiel, to get plugged in. You know, if you know anything about the South, Southwest, if you feed them, they will come. And so we may have a pizza dinner or a spaghetti dinner or a hot dog dinner or something to get people to come in our building and hear from our behavioral folks. And then we're hitting our local restaurants and people up saying, hey, what kind of a deal can you cut me on 400 pizzas? You know, at 400 pizzas, you can get them for about $3 a piece. So, because you're buying so many. And so, you know, there are those things that we've had to employ. Everything that we have done, we have seen Carl Junction go ahead of us. They're about a year and a half ahead of us in this project. And so we're able to tweak what they did. Maybe not make the same mistakes, or maybe not have to make a mistake because they've already done it. That's right. You didn't make any mistakes. And so it allows us to maybe take off with our feet already on the ground moving. With Webb City, they're going through Mercy, and so they're using a different hospital provider. What greater competition for us as a school district? You can tell I don't work with the hospitals. Because I can go to Freeman and I can say, well, Mercy does it. Mercy provides that. Mercy does it. Why don't you? Maybe we should be with, boy, doesn't that help? Because we met with Mr. Lewis. We met with the people from Mercy. And my superintendent says, this sounds like a great deal. Let's get on it. Freeman got wind of it and said, hey, wait a minute. We can do it better. We can do it too. And we did the same thing. I think our insurance provider goes through Freeman, and so that's why we're with Freeman. But those hospitals support each other. There is competition because they're businesses, but there's friendly competition, and there's cooperation. And that collaborative piece has helped us significantly. Consent for treatment. Someone asked about forms. Here is the front page of it. There's actually 2 more pages of it that I didn't include in this. I can send it to you if you want. There's probably a disclaimer somewhere on it that says, you know, this provided by Freeman, can't copy or copyright or something, but they didn't tell me that, and they didn't want to come to this today. So, hey, it's all yours. But, you know, as you go through, it starts to answer those questions. What we have noticed, of course, for us, is we have to have this in multiple languages. Anyone else have that problem? We have a very high Spanish speaking. We have a fairly high, and we call it Pacific Islander, but really there's different languages involved in that. And so we have to sometimes have multiple versions. And don't the apps off of the iPhones and the iPads make that easy? So that if you have it typed in, you can say, oh, I need a Russian version. That was new this year. I need a Hmong version, and they'll automatically translate. And I could not show you how to do it. We have technology people much better than me who can do that. So, you know, there's one of the forms we use. And so just real quickly, we have had our year-end review right after we got back from Thanksgiving. And so these papers I got yesterday and asked if I could put them in. So from the Neosho Physician Group, from the inception of our collaboration, Main goal has been to provide a healthcare service to our faculty, staff, and students and keep them healthy and in the classroom. And since 2014, they've seen an increase of 640%. Love to have those returns on anything else, anything positive. Our numbers are projecting an increase right now, mid-year, of 817.5% from 2014 to the end of the existing school year. It took us a while to get it right. We had the same thing Webb City did. Our nurses were a little bit leery. You know what's wonderful is a lot of our nurses used to work in the hospital system. And so they get it. They're not threatened. They like structure. I don't know of very many nurses who do not like structure. Okay? And when nurses that come into the school system in the past that would leave, they'd be great nurses. Why don't they stay? And we always assumed it was money, and a lot of times we found out it was because school lacks structure compared to the hospital, And so there are things that we are getting better at. We've got the access to some grants through the Department of Health and Human Services. We're doing some chronic illness awareness, and we're able to incorporate that in with our school nurses, but also take advantage of our association with Freeman. By the numbers. Kind of shows you the total number of visits. Now I'm colorblind, so you're going to have to help me a little bit. That one that is either green or blue is 2015. I can see the red and the black. The red is 2016 and the black is 2014. And obviously 2016, you're just seeing where we're at so far. Okay, so that'll be like 16, 17. Pretty phenomenal for us as to where it's going. There's my contact information. So I'm here. I'll certainly answer any questions. Assistant Superintendent of Operations, that's a new role for us this year. Prior to that, I was Business and Finance. And any of you that have done the Business and Finance piece, when the superintendent comes to you and says, hey, I think I'm going to separate this. I'm going to have someone over operations and someone over finance. Which one do you want? Finance, you have about as much control as the government and the board and the district allows you. And so I jumped at the idea of operations. I did do that with Silver Dollar City for a while, and so I enjoy that piece. But so I've kind of been on different sides of it. I did a lot with the finance. I did a lot to set up our insurance and to set up the stuff with Freeman originally. So certainly I hope I can answer any questions that you might have. And if not, I will be committed to getting you those answers. So
let's thank Tim for this great job of presenting about his school. Thank you.